Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're listening. It's always a good time here at the Finns Talk Sports Network. Welcome into Touchdown in Paradise, season number 4. Me and Russ kicking it here. Russ, how you doing, man? It's been a while.
I'm doing good, Justin. Just doing a lot of podcasting. Glad to be back for a little bit, talk some college football. Just counting the days till it's October here in Florida because August is a little warm, but we've been getting a lot of rain. The only thing about rain is kind of keeps the humidity and heat away for a while, so that's the only nice part right now. But besides that, I can't complain.
Just give it a couple more days. August will slip away into a moment in time, as the newly engaged Taylor Swift might say.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to slip that one in there. Congratulations to Travis and Taylor, by the way. I don't really get into celebrity couples, but that's been one love story that I've been wanting to say yes to for a long time.
Sure.
All right. Well, we are just a couple days away from week 1, but first I want to talk about week 0. Russ, did you catch any of the football this past weekend?
Oh yeah, I was watching the games. You had to tune in. It was not the best day, but it was college football, Justin. So you can't complain there. We've been deprived for a long time. Had a good quarter there at the end versus Kansas State, Iowa State, but it was a little sloppy. But it was college football, so can't really complain on that end.
And can't complain too, because it's a big jet lag when you go overseas like that. Take it from me, I actually did just get back from the UK, and it was the greatest trip I've taken in a couple of years. Much needed time away from America. As much as I love this grand old country, sometimes you just need a big break.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. But now let's get into it here. What to watch for this season? First thing on deck here, Ohio State, our reigning national champions, have lost a lot of talent. Can they repeat, Russ?
Honestly, Justin, I think it's going to be difficult. They lost a lot on defense, a lot of leaders on defense, a lot of on offense. Obviously, you lose Will Howard on offense. You're breaking in a redshirt freshman quarterback. You lose 2 coordinators. You're bringing in 2 coordinators, so that's going to be tough. I guess there's a possibility with Ohio State with what they have. Obviously, you got Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs on either side, so it's definitely a possibility. But with new starting quarterback and losing so much, I wouldn't say losing so much, because Ohio State and all these programs we're seeing right now are so good that they're bringing in so many 5-star talent that they can replace that talent. But the talent that they lost, with the amount of leadership that Ohio State lost, especially on that defensive side, I think will be missed.
100%. You look at Jack Sawyer, a guy like that, your defensive leader, who probably is never going to buy a beer in Columbus ever again, is out in Pittsburgh, along with his former teammate Will Howard, who's buried down on the depth chart there, of course. But it'd be kind of cool to see both those guys start in Pittsburgh. I don't know how those Steelers fans out there would feel about that with Will Howard, but wishing them luck with Mr. Aaron Rodgers out there, or should I just say, as a Pittsburgh staple, Mr. Rodgers. I'm in a band nowadays, and my bassist is actually from Pittsburgh. He walked into practice the other day wearing a shirt with Aaron Rodgers on it that said Mr. Rodgers Neighborhood. I thought that was just hilarious.
Yeah, he's going to get sick of them. Don't get me wrong, I love Aaron Rodgers. I love everything he does, but I'm just, obviously I'm a Jets fan, not a Packers fan, but being a pure football fan, watching him go from the Packers to the Jets just wasn't the same. The things that made Aaron Rodgers, I know we're on a little NFL, made Aaron Rodgers so great was his ability to improvise. And ever since he had that Achilles injury, he can't. You did see glimpses with the Jets, but he's 41. He's 41 last year. He can't. The reason it makes Aaron Rodgers so great is that improvisation he's got. I don't know if that was a word or not, but I think you'll get sick of him quick, and all the little antics he pulled that would work when he was 32, but now he's 41. I don't know if it works. And best of luck to him, I guess.
Best of luck to them. I mean, maybe Will Howard could be the guy in the future. I don't know if he's going to elevate himself as a 6th-round pick, but yeah, we'll see. But we're going to bring it back to college here real quick because we have a new starting quarterback at the University of Texas, and he's got quite a legacy of a name. Arch Manning, will he live up to the hype? Texas, #1 preseason ranking for the first time in history, opening the season at Columbus, visiting those Buckeyes that we just talked about. This is a matchup I'm really excited for. We'll talk more about it in a minute, but the question here is, will Arch Manning live up to the sky-high expectations that the media has lauded onto him, largely because of his name?
Justin, I do the other show on this network too with his name's Q. And we talking about it a lot. And, I definitely, here on FTSN, we did, a lot of Dolphin fans and we'll do the check down. And the amount of people who, and I'm not just saying the people on this network, but the people in general in the football world who are throwing these expectations on Arch Manning that he's going to be the #1 pick next year. He's going to come out. I'm like, this guy's played 96 snaps. Let's let him play. And he's played UL Monroe and Mississippi State. Okay, Mississippi State's an SEC school, but they haven't been good for a long time. So I want to bring down the expectations on Arch, in my opinion. I'm not expecting a whole I don't think he's going to come in and just dominate the offense. I'm like, this guy's played 96 snaps. So, I mean, living up to the expectation people are putting on him, he probably won't because that expectation is sky high because of his last name. But, I mean, the one thing and I'm sure you'll agree with me, is Arch is he's just mentally and emotionally smart. He knew that he was in the right situation in Texas, and I'm sure you agree that instead of him doing what everybody else did, and jump in the portal to start, he knew he was in the right situation with the right coach and staff, with Sarkisian, who has done great work on the offensive side of the ball, and he stayed there and learned 2 years. So for 2 years behind Quinn Ewers, but I don't know if you can live up to the expectations that people are putting on him that he's automatically going to be the #1 pick in the draft next year. Yes, his last name is Manning, but I mean, let's see him play Ohio State right off the bat. That's going to be, a very tough game, even though Ohio State did lose a lot.
And we remember how close that game was with Texas and Ohio State when they had all that talent last year too. So that makes it a little bit more intriguing. And I feel that Arch is a bit more dynamic than Quinn Ewers was. Quinn was the guy who brought Texas back, dare I say. Now, can Arch be the guy to take them back to that next level and really contending for the title?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the age-old question that, we all project he's going to be great because of his 2 uncles and his father, who was a very, if he didn't have a catastrophic injury, would have been a college football player too.
How about his grandpa?
I mean, obviously his grandfather, Archie. But it's just like I'm done with the expectation. We're automatically projecting him to be a Heisman. We're automatically projecting him to go #1. I'm like, first off, who what his uncle did in Tennessee. He decided to stay another year because he didn't like the situation. Unfortunately, it was the Jets with the #1 pick that year. And
who did the Jets pick that year, by the way?
Keyshawn Johnson.
Yep, one of the few times in NFL history a receiver went #1 overall. Probably the only time.
And he was good. He was just, it just didn't. They weren't going to pay him. Keyshawn's a big personality too, for sure.
You see him all over the networks nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, they got John Abraham, who was a great Jet for a while from that trade when he went to Tampa. And I think they kind of I think the Jets knew they weren't going to sign Keyshawn, and they had respect for him, so they traded him to a team knowing he could compete. He won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, so, I mean, it was kind of – and, had a good career with, Tampa Bay and the Cowboys and the Jets. But, I mean, it's just they're putting so much on this kid who's played 96 snaps. Now he's going to go up against, yes, a defense that lost a lot, but it's still loaded with 5 stars. I mean, I know Caleb Downs could be the best player in college football if we're getting down to it. I mean, just because he's got Jeremiah Smith on the other side, and yes, offense is more sexy than defense. Caleb Downs could be the best player in college football. So, I mean, we'll see what he does, and I don't think if he doesn't have an unbelievable game, it's maker. The world's crumbling on him. It's just let him get into it before we start giving him all these expectations.
I'm with you. I'm tired of all this hype on him. Let the man prove himself and create his own legacy. Sure, he carries that torch as the last name of Manning, and I will give credit to his family because they've kept him very humble. He's one of the few college athletes who doesn't need the money. Other college athletes might see a big bag of cash somewhere else and go jump and start, but they've been very humble and conservative the whole time and told Arch, look, just wait your turn like we did, and he listened. And he's been getting plenty of NIL money, sure, but also his family's loaded. He doesn't need the money. It's just kind of there, and he's taking what he does. And now the last question that we'll spend on Arch Manning here is, all the other Mannings stayed 4 years. Will Arch be the latest one, or do you think he'll be tempted to defy all that and jump this year to the NFL?
I think if this, I mean, knowing the people in his back, in his court with his, with his father, with his grandfather, and having his 2 uncles there, and obviously, Peyton decided to forego the 97 the draft in 96 to stay because he didn't like the situation, and what Eli did with the Chargers, I think he will go if the situation is right, in my opinion. So if it's a team that he does not like, I think he stays.
I like it. I do feel like he is going to stay regardless, and this is all a bunch of hype. But then again, things change very rapidly in the sport, and just all sports in general. We saw.
I'll be really interesting. It'll be really interesting because it could not be a good situation, but it would be if the Saints are on the board at number 1. Would he go? I would say
honestly, that's a very big possibility.
If I was him, I would say I would. I mean, that'd be awesome. But would you want to go to the same place where your grandfather is revered? And I don't know if Arch would do that. Seeing his path, that he could have gone to Ole Miss, he could have gone to Tennessee, and he decided to go to Texas and create his own path.
Yeah, and not to mention too, he's from Louisiana as well, so it's like going home like
that is very
Eric Rose, like LeBron James getting drafted by their hometown team, which would be kind of a cool story in my opinion. Almost happened to Caleb Williams if the Commanders had lost a couple more games. They would have gotten number 1 instead of number 2. I think they're pretty happy with Jaden Daniels.
I think you're pretty happy. I don't think they're complaining right
now. Moving along here, I was about to say here that things change, but we'll get to that in a minute. 2 receivers might be the favorite for the Heisman this year, Russ. If you look at just a couple names I have pulled here, Jeremiah Smith of Ohio State and Alabama's Ryan Williams. Now, the media is going to throw Arch Manning in there because Vegas will love that. And, of course, Cade Klubnik's going to make some noise, too. This is going to be at least very interesting of a talking point, I think, to start the season. Because now we've seen what Jeremiah Smith can do, a man amongst boys as a true freshman. Ryan Williams reclassifying, being the youngest player in college football and already dominating the SEC in that young 18-year-old age. And now he has another year of experience under his belt. What can they do now?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you definitely, Jeremiah, but I would say, obviously Jeremiah Smith overshadowed Ryan Williams' year, which was great. But I mean, Ryan Williams for a couple of weeks there, nobody was talking about Jeremiah Smith. They were talking about Ryan Williams for a good 3 or 4 weeks, and then Jeremiah Smith, just what he did. We'll see what he does with having a young, inexperienced quarterback.
And coordinator, too.
Yeah, and was it Brian Hartline is your new coordinator, which is, you go from Chip Kelly to Hartline. Hartline could be good, but he's never called plays. So we'll see what he does with that. But I mean, when he's got like a 6'4" frame, so I think Saints just be like, hey, get the ball close. He'll probably make a play. And I mean, Ryan Williams is a little smaller, but
so is Devontae Williams. Look at him.
So I think Jeremiah Smith will be the betting favorite going into the year. You got to throw Klubnik in there. You got to throw Sellers in there. Arch will be in there until he is not because of the last name, and Vegas.
I don't think any of the Mannings have won a Heisman.
No, they have not. Vegas. Well, Peyton got second. He lost to Charles Woodson. Eli was never invited. Archie was never invited. But Vegas is going to want to put in some like 40-1 odds on Arch to win the Heisman, so people take it, and then
so Vegas gets rich and wins again.
Yeah, they'll put in some odds that are like, oh, this is too good to be true, so they'll throw their money. And I mean, the odds of him winning the Heisman are, come on, like he's going to have to have a great year. I know it's a quarterback award, but I don't even think they got Heisman odds on Hard Rock.
You say it's a quarterback award, but who won last year?
I know. I think that was should have been a running back who won last year.
It showed up as an argument. Yeah, Travis Hunter was amazing last year, who did deserve to have his number retired, not like his quarterback.
Yeah, no comment. That was interesting, to say the least on that. Doing that I don't think that really helped out Shador in the draft process either, in my opinion.
I don't think it hurt or helped him, but it was just, I think it's more of a reflection of the Colorado program. Like, this is what it takes to get your number retired by Colorado, huh?
And don't get Colorado's going national titles. Teams on that net was in 91 that nobody's got the number retired. We got to, and I was cracking my ass. Excuse my language. I was cracking my ass up when Shane Gillis said, "What he went like? What was it?
I know exactly what you're about to say."
He's like, and you almost beat. I can't remember in the Alamo. You almost win the Alamo Bowl. It's good enough to get your. I was like, oh my god! Every day he.
I'm glad Shane Gillis found a career after he got fired from SNL before even taking one episode. Good for him.
And the man does not give a shit. I give it. Comedy is supposed to be a little edgy. Push it a little bit. That's what comedians are. He pushes it. You don't see too many comedians now push the threshold. He pushes it a little bit, says a little stuff that maybe, but it's funny stuff. I'm like, comedians aren't supposed to be touchy-feely all the time. It's what's funny. So I like it. When he said that, I was losing. I was like, that's hilarious. And then the WNBA comment.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I knew none of you know a WNBA player. I'm like, oh, it's hilarious.
I think his joke about Caitlin Clark was incredible. And I'm not going to say it on this channel because this is a family-friendly show. Good thing Pete's not here.
Oh, Pete would be. Pete's got no filter.
Sabbatical Pete getting an early start this year and not joining us for a week 1 show. But we do send our congrats to him because he is getting a new place.
Like, I don't know if I make it more than Pete. When I came out, I was like, hey, I'm going to definitely try. But, there's days I can't. And
you're high in demand now, Russ.
What?
I said you're high in demand.
I know. I got, it's if I make more episodes than Pete, when I'm like, hey, I got 2 other shows too. Some, as you know, as you said, you did 3 podcasts. This is your 3rd one this week. It does get a little tiring after a while. And you're like, I want to break from talking. But if I make it, which I probably will make it more than Pete. Pete's not, Pete's all over the place. Sabbatical Pete.
And we've been a little all over the place to start this show too. So let's kind of bring it back to the college angle
You
here.
won't be here next week if Notre Dame loses.
Speaking of blue bloods in the Midwest, the NCAA dropped the hammer on Michigan lately. That sign stealing scheme conducted from 21 to 23 with Connor Stallions orchestrating it all. This whole thing has now been case closed. So the program was found to have committed multiple level 1 violations, including impermissible recruiting practices and failure to cooperate with the investigation. The punishment is as follows. The fines are exceeding $20 million, 4 years of probation. Jim Harbaugh himself has a 10-year show cause penalty starting in 2028, following a previous 4-year show cause order. Sharon Moore suspended for 3 games, 2 self-imposed this year and 1 next year, and given a 2-year show cause order. Connor Stallions, 8-year show cause penalty, and Denard Robinson, a former coordinator, a 3-year show cause penalty for recruiting violations and failure to cooperate. With all this, is this too much? Is it too little? Is it just right? Because they did not vacate their national title.
Well, first off, I'm going to ask you, Justin, because you wrote it, what is a show cause penalty?
I'm glad you asked, Russ, because I actually had to chat GPT this answer myself last night when I was putting this together. A show cause penalty is anytime a coach wants to be hired by a school that's going to be very, very difficult. And basically, they're going to have to appear before a panel of judges in front of the NCAA. And every month, if they do hire the coach, about every month, there has to be a report on how the coach is keeping the program intact and not violating everything. So in all aspects here, yes, you could still get a job, but it just makes it so much harder. And a lot of schools are going to be turned away from the idea of hiring someone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very great one for Jim Harbaugh. Is probably never coming back to college football, but
yeah, and like we were just talking about, things can change really quickly. There was talk all throughout their national title year, is Harbaugh going to jump to the NFL? And I was actually team no, he's going to stick around. But then he found the Chargers job, and I think there was more than one reason why he took that job.
Yeah, definitely.
He knew what was coming. And now we see it to the forefront. Maybe this is a much bigger scandal than we think it is.
Yep. I mean, I think it's probably, a good, accurate, penalty for all the guys. Do I think it just got to prove a point? Does the NCAA really want to vacate a national title like they had to do with the Reggie Bush thing? Which was complete BS, which wasn't even a bit, but it's just a show. I'm sure other schools are doing something very similar. I'm sure they're not the first team that's had this idea and enacted it. I mean, teams scout teams. I mean, it's just like, I'm sure Michigan is just, it's a big brand. So, I mean, I don't think the NCAA, in response to your question, no, they shouldn't have vacated their title. And I don't think they should, because it's the play on the field that's something else. I mean, just like I don't think the Astros should have vacated their title, even though I know I'll probably get some negative feedback if we ever get Joe and Pete showing on this show on that comment. But it's just like that. And also, if they do it, there's gonna if they would really vacate that title, that's a bigger headache than the NCAA wants.
Right. And Louisville's 2013 basketball title, they vacated too, but we all saw they were the best team the whole tournament and year. Yep. Just because of some recruiting violations here. But yeah, in this case, this is something that could affect on the field play. But you look at it too, it's not like they knew which play was coming, which blitz was coming, and J.J. McCarthy is gunning it 60 times a game. No, it was Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. That's who it was, basically winning that title for them.
Donovan Edwards.
Yeah.
Donovan Edwards is the former running back.
And who am I thinking of then? Donovan who?
You said Denard. I thought you said Denard Robinson.
No, Denard Robinson was the guy. I said Donovan Edwards, the running back, won the title for them.
Oh, okay. I was like, Donovan Edwards is on. I don't know if he made the Jets or not.
You smoking enough dope over there, Russ?
No, I'm clean.
Yeah, it's illegal in Florida anyways. Now we're going to move on here to
California, where everything's legal, but you can't legally sports bet.
That's right. Now we're going to move on here to which new coach makes the biggest impact at their new school. Starting with probably the biggest name on this list, Bill Belichick at UNC, Russ's guy, Rich Rod at WVU, my guy, Scott Frost at UCF, Dan Mullen at UNLV, Jake Dickert at Wake Forest, or Barry Odom at Purdue. These are just a few of the big names. I think the one first off is going to be the biggest drop in the bucket is Belichick. How many times are we talking about UNC football and having the microscope on them like this? Not even because of the play in the field, but because of the offseason. I can't remember a time in the past when this was that big a thing. And most of the time, it's not even Bill Belichick they're talking about. They're talking about his girlfriend. But Russ, what's your pick here?
I think it's tough with all of them, Justin. Sorry, I'm trying to look up a schedule.
While he looks that up here, let's just go down the list here. Scott Frost returned to UCF after winning the national title in 2017 and 18. Rich Rod coming back to WVU after taking the Michigan job many years ago. Dan Mullen, former Florida and Mississippi State coach, getting an opportunity back at UNLV. Barry Odom was the coach at UNLV, used to coach at Mizzou. He's now off to Purdue. And now Jake Dickert, formerly of Washington State, moving over to Wake Forest.
I think Belichick's the easy pick. I think Belichick, if they win 8 to 9 games, he's obviously going to do that. Do I see UNC winning 8 to 9 games? No. I could see them winning 6, maybe getting a bowl game in. I think biggest impact would be Barry Odom. I mean, you got nowhere to go from up in that program. What they won? They didn't. Did they end up? No, they didn't win a game last year. They won 1.
I think 1 game. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you win 2 games, you're already making an impact.
Yeah, shut out twice, by the way, Notre Dame and Oregon, at least twice.
So, I mean, I would say the biggest impact there, I don't see. I mean, Dan Mullen, UNLV already was struggling to get a win on week 0. We'll see what Scott Frost does at UCF. I mean, Big 12's tough conference to play in. There's a lot of evenly matched teams in the Big 12 this year, and it will probably be, in my opinion, be very similar as it was last year, coming down to the last couple of weeks to see who is in the Big 12 title game there. Rich Rod, same thing. I think Rich Rod's good in Rich Rod's system. So if he's got his people, it's good. If you take Rich Rod, if you give Rich Rod a quarterback he's good with, but I mean, Rich Rod really, unfortunately, hasn't been that great since he left West Virginia the first time. It's kind of been a downhill trend. So I mean, I think Barry Odom's got the easiest path, but obviously you come in and you win 2-3 games, you're making a massive impact for the program. In my opinion, I mean, but if I'm going off this list, we see a couple guys in Frost and Rich Rodriguez, guys, trying to get back to the glory days, where it was, going good for them.
No, I agree. Those Scott Frost teams at UCF were some of the most exciting that I've seen in recent years. And Rich Rod back at WVU, when he had Pat White and all those guys were unstoppable. If we can get back to that kind of college football, especially in the Big 12, I'll tell you what the Big 12 needs. As 2 guys here who are fans of Big 12 schools, they need more hype. They need more eyeballs and electricity and some sort of juice into this conference that It's just a bit of zing to get people watching them again. With losing Texas and Oklahoma, of course, you're going to lose millions and millions of viewers and millions in revenue, too, in a TV deal, of course. But just something to say, hey, don't forget, we're still a power conference here. Don't try and discount us. And that comes from, a little bit of that pizzazz from those exciting teams. But also, you got to go win those matchups against the Big Ten, against the SEC early in the season. And if you can do that, then you're starting to make a staple. I believe Baylor and Auburn are playing this week. That's one chance right there the Big 12 has. Not that Auburn's anything to write home about right now, but still.
I think, honestly, in all opinion, Big 12 could be the most exciting conference in college football.
That nobody watches.
Not on being the best conference, but it's going to be the most exciting because there is probably – I could mention 6 teams that have a shot to make it to – I think they play in Dallas at the end of the year. There's probably about 6 teams that have a shot to make it in the Big 12. So it might be the most – even though it's not the best, the most exciting conference in college football.
Yep, there's very good arguments there for that, indeed. Moving along here. All right, Russ, you ready? Because it's the first one of the year. It's time for our Paradise Parlay. And let me tell you, I'm headed to Hawaii, some real paradise, in a couple weeks, and I'm so excited to get laid. So let's get to it here. Starting off with Alabama at Florida State. Bama is a 13.5-point favorite on the spread. The over-under is 50.5. Bama minus 550 money line. Florida State plus 410. Florida State was an absolute joke last year. This is going to be the make or break year for Mike Norvell. Does he do enough to keep his job in week 1, Russ?
In week 1? No, he does not. Alabama's covering. Alabama's winning. I don't know if it's going to be over 50. I don't think it'll be over. I'm going to go the under. But do I think he does enough this year to keep his job? Yeah, I don't think Florida State has the same money Texas A&M does. And they're not going to want to eat whatever they have to eat to get rid of them. But they won 2 games last year, so anything above 2 is you're moving up the stairs. You're going in the right direction, but not against Alabama this week. So I got them covering that 14. I got them winning, and I got the under.
And I'm going to go a little bit different here because I think that fire under Mike Norvell's ass is getting a little bit hot. So they're going to fight for sure. I think Alabama's going to win, but a little bit closer. So I'm going to say Florida State covers here. It's going to be the under. I think it's going to be more of a defensive battle because you do have a veteran taking over the quarterback position for Alabama too, but albeit a guy who hasn't got a ton of time in Tyne Simpson. And I remember he did play a couple years ago against USF, and he struggled mightily to start the game. Actually, no, they threw somebody in there first, but then he came in and saved the game at the end. But still, you should not be hanging around with USF on the road in the monsoon if you're Alabama. So in that sense, I understand Kalen DeBoer is a great coach. He'll have these guys ready. But when it comes to some teams out there, it can give Kalen DeBoer teams fits. And this one, I don't know. Florida State is a mixed bag, but I'm going to go a little conservative here and say it is going to be closer than we think.
Thomas Castellanos has been talking a lot of smack.
Is he at Florida State now?
Yeah.
Is he starting for Florida State?
Yep. I did.
Really?
I know. I got so many Miami Hurricane fans I talked to. It's insane.
He was our quarterback at one point. He was our prized recruit, and then he jumped ship to Boston College.
Yeah. He's the Florida State starting quarterback, and he has not stopped talking since he got there and just trashing Alabama. So I think they come out hot, shove it down their throat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, he does have some experience, but he is very prone to mistakes as a UCF fan and a guy who watched him at Boston College the last couple of years. He's also quite undersized. So watching him against an overmatched team, potentially, can he back it up? Well, you and I are both on Team Bama. I do think Florida State covers, but Bama's going to win. It's going to be the under. And, yeah. Coming up next here, the Battle of the Orange, Tennessee at Syracuse. Tennessee is a 14-point favorite here, 15.5 over under. Money line here is the Vols by minus 600 and the Orange by plus 440. I'll start off with this one here. This one, I really love what Syracuse is doing with the new coach, but they don't have Kyle McCord anymore. They got a new guy in there who's going to have to learn the ropes. And for that reason, Josh Heupel's been there before, everything. They do have a new guy as well. But in the end, I do feel like I trust Josh Heupel and crew over Syracuse. So give me Tennessee to cover here. I'll take the over and the Vols money line. Russ.
Yeah, I mean, the over is a must with the Josh Heupel offense.
Yep. Run, gun, pass, everything.
We'll see. I mean, I think Tennessee ends up covering. Do I think it's going to be? I don't know much about Syracuse this year, but we'll see what Joey Aguilar does. The former, UCLA quarterback until Nico came over and took his job. Mm-hmm. But I'll take it Tennessee on the board, all over the board with the spread and with the money line and the over.
Mm-hmm. I like it. The battle for who has the real Death Valley. LSU at Clemson. Clemson's a 3.5-point favorite at home, 57.5 over under. The Tigers minus 180. The other Tigers from the Bayou plus 150 money line. Russ, give it your best shot.
I think it's going to be a great game. That's all at the end of the day, all I know is I think it's going to be a great football game. I think it's two guys we could be seeing on Sunday next year. I'm leaning towards more Clemson. I think Dabo can win the big games. I want to see, was it Garrett Riley? I want to see what his offense does with another full year under his belt with Cade Klubnik. But I think it's going to be really close. I'm going to say an LSU cover. Clemson win. And what are we at? Sorry, I'm trying to.
Over and
under. So I'm saying 3-point game. Clemson wins the ball game and under.
I like it, Russ. And I'll tell you what, I am not falling for this trap again, Brian Kelly. Last year, a year before that, you went up against Florida State, 2 neutral site games, and you find a way to blow it in week 1 over and over again. Oh, actually, no, I'm wrong. That was 2 years ago and then 3 years ago. Last year, you opened up against USC in Vegas. And what happened there? You blew it again. You blew it again in a close game. I am not high on Brian Kelly in week 1. Give me Clemson all the way through. Clemson's going to cover. It's going to be the over. Just going to hit the over. I think it's going to get very close. And give me Clemson at home. Big on Dabo here. Coming up here. Ooh. I wish Pete and Joe were in on this one because you and I are going to have a field day here, Russ. Notre Dame at Miami. The Irish are a 2.5-point favorite in South Florida. Over-under is 49.5. Notre Dame minus 130. Miami plus 110. Oh, wow. This is a close matchup here, and I've been going back and forth. I don't know who to pick here. Do we trust Mario Cristobal enough to win the big game? But I also did see a stat that Notre Dame has not beaten the Canes in Miami since the 1970s. And this could be their best shot to do so. How much am I buying Carson Beck in a new environment? We've seen him be great. We've seen him be terrible at times. He's been a mixed bag. He moves to Miami because of his girlfriend, who apparently he's now no longer together with. Is on any of this going to hinder him? Is he going to come out firing? Is this going to be what Miami needs? I'm going to go team Miami here. I'll pick the Canes with the cover. I'll go the under, and I'll take Miami money line. Russ.
I think knowing people are going to be there, this game's going to be raucous. I don't think this is a make or break for either team. If they lose, obviously non-conference, and we saw like last year, we saw a 3-loss team end up make the college football playoffs in Clemson. But as great a coach I think Marcus Freeman is, he's got a young quarterback, and I know the trash talk everybody talks about Carson Beck that. He's no good, and what happened? He threw for 3,800 yards last year. I don't know the exact number, but it was. I mean, he had a hell of a year. So I'm taking Miami to cover. I'm taking Miami to win, and I'm taking the over just because of Carson Beck's experience. I mean, it's nothing against Notre Dame. It's just more you've got a young, inexperienced quarterback. I think if Notre Dame would win the game, rely heavily on that strong offensive line and Julian Love.
I agree here. And our heads are intact because of all the fans who tune into the Finstock Sports Network who root for the Canes. So we got your back, guys. We got your back. The other two who are not here, Joe will not be on this year, unfortunately. I don't know about them. But this week, Russ and I are riding with the Canes. And now for that game of the week that we mentioned earlier, Texas at Ohio State. Ohio State -2.5 favorite at home. The over-under is 47.5. Money line here favors the Buckeyes by -125 to Texas's +105. Russ, give it your go first.
It's going to be really tough. We got two young quarterbacks who have never, one's never started a game, one started 2 games. This is going to be obviously a different environment for Arch going into Columbus. I've been going back and forth on Texas all year on this game and Ohio State. I'm going to go Texas by 3. Ohio State by 3. So Ohio State covers. I'm taking that under is really low. I'm going to go barely over. What is I can't decide on that, Justin.
Over under is 47.5.
40. Okay, so it's going over, and I'm going Ohio State to win.
Okay, we're going to be a little bit different here.
It's been like this. It's like I have no effing clue where I'm going. At the end of the day, Justin, all we want is a really competitive football game. Not being a fan of either team, just want some competitive football to wake up, crack a few beers, and watch the football on Saturday. But it's been like this. Just I'm juggling. I've been juggling with who I'm going with, but that's what I guess my pick will be.
And we're going to go a little bit different over here because before I get to the pick, first off, how great is it that we get back to this kind of college football when we have Texas going on the road to Ohio State? Whereas I feel like during the Nick Saban dynasty in the 2010s, we were just in misery week 1 because every big game was in a neutral site. I couldn't stand it. And that was all Saban's doing. He wasn't going to go on the road to USC. We knew that. He wasn't going to go on the road to Wisconsin. No, he was going to make them come to Houston and play them there, or go to Atlanta, play them there, go to Orlando, play Louisville there. Like, he's not going to go on the road. But now that he's gone, this seems to be the more normal thing again, and we're really enjoying it. So anyways, back to the pick here. I think Arch has heard the noise, and the Buckeyes feeling a little high on themselves. Arch still has a bit more experience than Julian saying over there. Texas is going to be gassed up, fired up. Remember last year they went to Michigan early in the season, and they dominated those reigning national champions in the Big Ten. And I think it's going to be a repeat. They're going to dominate these national champions here. So give me Texas to cover, give me the over, and give me the Longhorns money line. And now down to our predictions for the year. I wish Pete had cooperated and put down his stuff, but I'll save that earful for him personally. Starting off with, now, for those of you who might be new to our show here, we do these at the beginning of the year, every year, and then we set them aside, and we'll see how we did by the end. So we're going to predict our conference champions, our sleeper team, our coach of the year, Heisman winner, and national champion. Starting off with the ACC, I was pretty high in Clemson just now, and I'm pretty high in Cade Klubnik and crew here. I don't feel like there's going to be a true test for them in the ACC at this point right now. SMU, I feel like, is going to take a big step back. I feel like Miami is going to be good, but then mid toward the end of the year. Clemson, though, has proven they can be consistent on and on and on throughout a year. So I'm going to pick the Tigers. Russ, you.
I think it's a 2-team race in the ACC. Clemson and Miami, and I think we're going to finally get the game we wanted to see last year, which I wanted to see Clemson and Miami play, and we never got. I think we get it this year, but I know we're going with the lowest same. I'm going with Clemson, but I think at the end of the year it's going to be very toss-up, but two-team race in Charlotte, Clemson, Miami. But I'm going to go with Clemson.
Agreed. And Pete, I can only imagine, is going to say, Devil sucks, going with Miami.
You don't know what Pete's going to say. Pete says a different thing every week.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're all college football analysts here, or judges from the armchair. And so that's our job. We got to change things as the times change. I'm not going to fault too much for that. The Big Ten now. Russ, who you got?
I think the Big Ten's really tough, Justin. I think the Big Ten is a wide open race. I know the betting favorite. I think there's, Ohio State could win the Big Ten, Penn State. I'm going Ohio State. Oregon could be there. I'm not sold on Dante Moore. I'm going to go Ohio State, go the experience. I'm not sold on Drew Aller. I'm not sold on James Franklin can win the big game. So really no clue where I'm going in the Big Ten, but just going off, let's go with Ohio State. I think at the end of the day, it could be Ohio State. Michigan could surprise some people. Illinois could surprise some people. I think Illinois is going to be a sneaky, really good team with Brett Bielema. I think an interesting storyline in the Big Ten is in year 3 with Matt Rule at Temple was the year he really jumped off. In year 3 at Baylor jumped off with Matt Rule. This is year 3 of Nebraska. I think Nebraska is going to make some noise and surprise some teams. Do I think they win the Big Ten? No. But I think they're going to surprise some people. And with a year or two of Dylan Raiola. But that's a great storyline in the Big Ten. But I'm going to just go with Ohio State. Not fully committed to it, but that's my pick. So
You mentioned some really good things in there, and I want to start unpacking that with Illinois. I've been saying for the last few years, Illinois is just a great offense away from being a real contender. Like Brett Bielema's got a very hard-nosed coaching type deal. Luke Altmaier had some good spots last year, but I just feel like there's a ceiling for where they are. If you bring in a coordinator like Josh McDaniels was to the Patriots, like if he can find his version of Josh McDaniels in there, this is a team that could really make some noise. Is this the year that they finally maybe get to the Big Ten title game? Like that's how you build a program from the bottom up. You start with a big name coach coming in. You start building it with the big guys on the lines, get big and physical, hard nose, and you start with running the ball. And then eventually you attract in your Joe Burrow type, just like they did at LSU, the guy who opens up the offense, who's got the arm, who's very smart, who's a little mobile and can be gimmicky, but also very big and strong presence in the pocket. Once Illinois finds that, they're going to take the next step. Is that this year? I don't think so. I think this is just another year they build on top of it. So I am going to go with Penn State here just because of the experience factor and more so of their defense and run game. I don't believe in Drew Aller in a guy who can win the title, but I believe in him enough to where if he's just like J.J. McCarthy and hands the ball off and doesn't do anything stupid, then Penn State can win the Big Ten. Just off of that.
You got Katron Allen. You got Fat Boy there, which is one of the best nicknames in college football. And he likes it, too. That makes it even better. Not just like he likes being called that nickname. So, I mean, give the ball to Katron Allen and just let him eat. But James Franklin doesn't do it for me.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel that. I do feel that he has a ceiling. But we're going to go over the Big 12, which you deemed as the most exciting conference in college football. And I tacked on that nobody watches. I'd like to get people to watch this. And the reason why you should watch the Big 12 is for the reason Russ said. You never know who's going to win. NFL, it's any given Sunday. Well, the Big 12 is any given Saturday. or Thursday night or Friday night. We'll throw that in there. And I really don't know who to pick, so I'm just going to go with Baylor. I don't know why. Don't ask me. But Arizona State won last year. They were picked to finish last. So I'm just going to go with Baylor. Russ?
I think that was a good pick. Me and College Blitz, we were kind of doing Big 12, like who's going to be in there. And I picked Baylor, Utah. And at the end of the day, Big 12. I think there could be, I'm never going to say Arizona State. I think Arizona State has a little step down after losing some players to the NFL, losing Cam Scadaboo, I'm going to go with the experience with Utah to win the Big 12. Was my pick last week, and I'm going to stick with it. But I think Baylor will be right there. I think Texas Tech is going to be a surprising team that could get there at the end. And, I mean, Kenny Dillingham did a great job at Arizona State. We'll see what BYU is. They do have a young new quarterback. But I'm going to go with Utah.
Yes, and your boy Zach Wilson's younger brother is the starting quarterback there.
I don't think he is anymore.
Did he leave?
No, I think he got replaced.
Okay, I see. And we're going to move over now to the SEC. Any ideas here, Russ, for who wins the SEC?
No effing clue, Justin. I think no clue who wins the SEC. I think this is probably the most competitive SEC we've seen in a while, where it's not usually just your Alabamas and your Georgias and you throw in an LSU here and there. I think it's the most competitive we're going to see. I've gone back and forth on who's going to win the SEC. Is it going to be – I think Georgia has a step back going from Carson Beck to Gunnar Stockton. Yes, he was a 4-star guy at a small school in Georgia. I think Alabama will be pretty good this year, but we'll see what they do with Ty Simpson. My surprising team in there, and I think there could be a chance at the end of the day they make it, is South Carolina. I'm really high on their defense. I really like Lenore Sellers. I like the Beamer ball. But at the end of the day, I know they called the loss, but it doesn't matter. You know, obviously Texas. I'm going to go LSU.
Good pick. Good pick. Safe pick.
You know, I'm not fully sold on the Texas yet. I think they got a very good coach who's proven. I just want to see it. But I think the SEC is going to get back to what the SEC has been, which is the best conference in college football. And I think it's a very good thing for the SEC that it's going to be very competitive this year. And one rip, college football, SEC on CBS is done, and I'm crying inside because when I hear that song on CBS, I'm a little kid again, ready to just sit and watch college football with my brother and my dad.
I feel that sentiment there. I always hear that and I think, oh, Johnny Manziel just kicked Alabama's ass.
Well, I usually hear that and I'm waiting for like Vern Lundquist's voice and I never get it. I'm like,
Vern Lundquist, Gary Danielson. Yes, indeed. I am going to go with Texas, but I will put a sleeper team out there. And don't laugh, the Florida Gators. DJ Lagway fully healthy again. He is the game changer, the X factor, the man who saved Billy Napier's job a year ago. And they competed with Georgia until he went down. Imagine him back in a weaker Georgia, a weaker Tennessee, a weaker SEC in general. Now I'd be very curious to see. The South Carolina pick is a good one, too, of a sleeper. I like that as well. Seeing what Lenore Sellers did last year when the odds were stacked against him in the beginning of the season, that was so much fun to watch. I'd love to see South Carolina make the playoffs.
South Carolina was, 1 to 2 plays away from being in that SEC championship conversation last year. I do like Lenore Sellers' character, that he has been offered money to leave, and he said, no, I made a commitment to South Carolina. I'm going to stay. Money, doesn't change. A guy who sticks to his word. That you don't see enough of that in college sports nowadays. I think the Florida pick is very good. I think Florida could be a very scary team. The only thing with Florida is their schedule is daunting. Where you have to, their schedule. You want to hear these 3 weeks in a row?
Go for it.
September 20th, you play Miami in Miami at Hard Rock. Then you got a home game on the 4th, October 4th against Texas. Then you go to College Station and play Texas A&M. Then you get a week where you're playing Mississippi State. It's still an SEC game, but you're playing Mississippi State. Then you got to play Georgia. Then you got to play Ole Miss. Then you got to play Tennessee, and then you got to play Florida State, which I know Florida State was down, but that's still a rivalry game. That schedule is insane.
That's so true. But it makes for exciting football, and that's what I'm looking forward to. If Florida is formidable at all, having them battle with Arch Manning, battle with Mike Elko's Aggies, and battle with Mike Norvell's Florida State, and battle with Miami, Carson Beck, that's what we're here for. Carson Beck, a guy who had their number for 3 years or so, however long he was starting. So we're going to jump real quickly through the rest of this. Who's your group of 5 pick, Russ?
James Madison.
JMU, all right. I'm going to go with Tulane. Jake Retzlaff, the BY Jew no more. Now he's at Tulane, leading the Green Wave.
What conference is James Madison in again?
Aren't they in the Sun Belt, is it?
You could be right. Yeah. I'm going off of that. Listen, really weak schedule. You don't play Appalachian State in Boone, North Carolina. So I think there's one game on their schedule they could lose, and that's against Jeff Brom's Louisville team.
Mm-hmm. They're probably going to lose that game, but you never know. Louisville's at up and down.
Washington State, but you don't have to play App State in Boone, which we all know is a raucous environment there.
Beautiful environment too, nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now our sleeper team of the year. I'm going to go first here. I'm going to go with the Houston Cougars. Willie Fritz in his second year. Remember what he did at Tulane? He took them and won the Cotton Bowl. Now he's got a lot of NIL resources and a lot of money behind him with Tillman Fertitta in his back pocket. What can he do with the Cougars in year 2? I think toward the end of the year, they were getting pretty hot. And now, after a year of another transfer portal, another recruiting class, watch out. Cougars are coming.
I think that's a good pick. I got a couple, but the main one let's go black shirts. I'm going Nebraska. Year 3 of Matt Rule. Year 2 of Dylan Raiola. Bringing in former University of Houston head coach Dana Holgerson's your offensive coordinator. I think Nebraska is going to make some noise this year.
Mm-hmm. Remember, I know Holgerson's kind of fallen off in years, but at one point he did have Geno Smith and Tavon Austin, one of the most explosive duos of the decade.
And he did have Case Keenum.
That's true too.
One of the greatest college football years ever. So I think that's really going to help. Indeed. And I just like the storyline. Year 3, he's year 3. Let's see what he does in year 3. I think they make some noise in the Big Ten a little bit. But I think the Big Ten's going to be, like we said, Illinois could be. I don't think Illinois is a surprising team anymore, but I think they can make some noise in Big Ten and maybe dash some hopes as well, along with South Carolina. But definitely, I wanted to say Virginia Tech, but every time I say Virginia Tech, they keep the. I think Virginia Tech can definitely make. I think they're a surprising team in it, but I'm going to stay.
The days of Virginia Tech are long gone, and until they prove it to me, we're not getting the early 2000s Virginia Tech ever again. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Not at this point in college football. Virginia Tech, if you want to surprise me and get back to those golden days of Frank Beamer, great. I'd love to see that. But until then, you guys have fallen so far back, just like Miami has, just like Nebraska has. I don't think there's ever coming back. Every year, I feel like there's a little bit of hype around them, but it's quickly evaporated. Come on, Virginia Tech, I'm challenging you. Come out here and prove me wrong. But I will say you do have the best intro in all of college football with Enter Sandman. That is something I've always wanted to be a part of. Moving along here to Coach of the Year. I'm going to jump in real quick, and I'm picking Sark at Texas. I think he's due for this award. Russ.
Hell if I know, Justin.
Just pick somebody.
Oh my God. I really have no clue. Yeah, just put the Jeopardy music on me for sure. I had a name, but then I forgot. Let's go Shane Beaver.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
I can always go with it.
And now for our Heisman pick. Heisman pick. Russ, if you got to pick one guy who you think is going to win right now, who would you say?
Garrett Nussmeier.
Garrett Nussmeier. I like it. I'm going to go with Jeremiah Smith. Two guys very good at football. One of them very much more experienced than the other, but one of them does have a ring. We'll see. I'm excited here. And last but not least here, our national champion. National champion.
Who'd you go with?
I went with Jeremiah Smith.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I didn't catch that. I just heard the ring part. I'm like.
So national champion now. I've been going back and forth here, but at the end of the year last year, I did pick Texas to win. Do I still feel as confident in that pick? I don't know. We've got to see what Texas is going to look like this weekend, but we're picking these now. So let me lock it in. Texas is back, baby. Back on top 20 years later. Winning the national champion, the Longhorns. Russ.
I got my pick, but I'm not going to jinx them, especially because I do have a family member who went to the school, so I'm not going to pick them to the team. I think I'm not going to throw a jinx on them. Hell if I know, Justin. I think it's a wide open field. Honestly, this is a great year. It is wide open. I'm seeing at least 10 teams that can win the national title this year. As of now.
At the very least, NIL has leveled the playing field to
level the playing field. I'm just going to go Penn State.
Okay.
So I don't think they. Actually, it makes no sense if they. Actually, now I'm thinking they don't even have to win the Big Ten to get it. But I have another team in mind, but I'm not going to throw the Russ jinx because of my family member.
Okay, respect it. I'll put Penn State down for now, but I know you've got something in the back of your head.
That will be off camera. They'll be up here for a while.
Mm-hmm. All right. With our wrap up here, today's show, first off, it's good to be back, but this Saturday represents the closing of a massive chapter of college football, the end of an era. A legend retires. Coach Lee Corso does his final headgear pick this Saturday in Columbus at Ohio State, Texas. I've written a sonnet here as a little farewell. From 87's dawn to 25's close, a fixture bright on game day's story stage. With headgear donned, predictions he chose, a mascot's helm, his signature engage. 430 times the head he wore, with 286 wins to his acclaim. Ohio State, his favorite pick of yore, Brutus crowned most in his predictive game. Through strokes and trials, his spirit held fast. Not so fast, my friend, his playful retort. A pencil poised, his wisdom unsurpassed. A coach, a friend, a cherished fan's cohort. As final picks in Columbus unfold, we bid adieu to legends brave and bold. Much respect to Coach Corso. Congratulations on a great career. We saw how he has been in the last couple of years, and I wish him well. Game day is definitely never going to be truly the same. McAfee's done a good job in revitalizing it, but to have that headgear at the end of the show, it's just something that you just can't replace with anybody. I'm going to miss Coach Corso and wish him all the best with whatever he moves on to in these years, in this stage of his life.
Definitely. I mean, he's going to be missed. I'm not going to say I'm happy he's gone, but I'm happy he is gone because I was getting sad seeing him on a national stage and knowing what he was, and unfortunately he had health stuff. I'm like, it was just not fun watching him anymore because he's getting older. He had health stuff that was affecting him. He wasn't the same guy that we grew up with. So I'm gonna miss him, but I'm like, you had a great career. It's time to just sit back and watch college football league.
Well said. Well said. There's so many Lee Corso moments that come to mind when I think of all the gimmicks he's done. A few of them that I do want to share are, of course, when he dropped the F-bomb when he was at Houston SMU and threw the pony headgear out and picked up Shasta's head. Another one, when he was at Clemson, Florida State, Bill Murray was the guest picker. Bill Murray picks Clemson, and he comes out dressed as his alma mater's Seminole mascot and starts beating up and wrestling him to the ground for picking Clemson. And of course, who could forget when he fully suited up in UCF Knights Nitro, full on, the only time they came to UCF, his hometown school there in Lake Mary, Florida. And it was just something else to see him donning all that black and gold armor. Oh, Coach, there's so many memories to go through. A big part of my childhood and my growing up. And this show will never be truly the same. And I know what Russ means. He clearly weren't the same toward the end. We love you. We're sending you off with so much love, so much praise.
Those
Russ,
were all
what
great.
are some of your favorite moments?
That was all great, but the Harvard Yale where he goes not so fast midget to the little kid was just hilarious.
I do remember that one too.
But it was time for him to hang it up. But too many great memories. Obviously, being on the West Coast my whole life, waking up at 7 in the morning to watch College Game Day. There's nothing else like it.
Well said. Wishing you the best, Coach. And our cheers for the week. I'm going to start off here. First cheer goes out to Tower 12, becoming our new UCF Watch Party HQ down in the South Bay. They've been so accommodating to us. Shout out to Greg Newman, Erica Newman, especially Ainer, the GM, best bar on the pier. And one more here. As I did mention, I also did just get back from the UK, which is, by the way, if you've never been to London, it is one of the greatest cities in the world. There's a reason why I went to London, and I think you know what's coming next here. Well, if Joe was here, he's about to go see these guys in a few weeks with Sarah. But my next cheer goes out to Oasis. Back together, touring the world, still sounding as great as they did. I went to their show at Wembley. It was biblical, as Liam Gallagher may once say. And by the way, massive shout out to them too. Pete's long lost uncles, Liam and Noel Gallagher, who are now made up, behaving, and performing great music again. So cheers to Tower 12, cheers to Oasis, and cheers to college football being back, baby. Russ, go for it.
Yeah, I got nothing. Just glad we got a full slate of college football on Saturday. Well, starting on Thursday.
Mm-hmm. You said it. Well, thank you all for tuning in for our first episode, season 4 of Touchdown in Paradise. I'm Justin.
I'm Russ.
And be sure to subscribe here to the Fins Talk Sports Network and tune in every week when we'll be doing these shows. See you next time.